You're listening to the Our Erie podcast with Lydia, Laythe,
Davona, Pacley,
and Marty, Nwachukwu.
This series will bring citizens, entrepreneurs, activists, politicians, artists, and thought leaders to the table for a frank discussion around societal issues facing our post-industrial city and the United States at large. Take a seat.
Today we have Gyan Ghising, an entrepreneur, a musician, and an educator. So Gyan, I'm super excited, and honored to be in your space today because I was reading your story and just reading a little bit about you, and you have a lot of history into what brought you here to Erie. And today I'm just really interested in, we are all interested in your trip here and what led you to Erie, PA. And so we just want to talk a little bit about your experience.
Thank you very much for having me and giving your precious time for the moment to introduce myself to the community, to the friends and families in Erie and in the country, I hope. My name is Gyan Ghising. I've been living in Erie since 2011, the beginning of January 18, 2011. With my two daughters and my wife and my mother. I fled from the country Bhutan in 1992. The civil war broke between the tyrannical monarchism of Bhutan in 1988, and the war started from 1988. It wasn't a big war, but it was a bad understanding between the southern Nepali speaking Bhutanese and the regional Bhutanese Ngalong, Wangchok, and Sharchokpa, the ruling community of Bhutan. I fled with my father when I was 11 years old in 1992 and came to Nepal to resettle as a refugee. I resettled in Nepal in Maidar, the place called Maidar in Japa district of Mechijon in Nepal, in the eastern part of Nepal in 1992. Ever since, due to the situations, we had very horrible situation for clothing, food, and health. The UNHCR recognized us as a refugee, as a political victim, and then they took care. The agency called UNHCR took care about our health, education, and then the food and clothing in different part of Java called Beldangi. They shipped us to Beldangi after 1 year of our reside in the eastern part of Nepal called Maidar. And then I've been living in Beldangi too for more than 22 years as a refugee. There I started my education from grade 1. When I was 11 years old, I was in grade 1. Our education, due to the war for 4 years, I wasn't able to go to school. They messed up all my education, and I started from grade 1 when I was 11 years old. And all my education until high school and then the bachelor degree I completed from that place. So I completed my bachelor degree from Mahendra Morong campus in Biratnagar, Nepal, in Morong district. So we were having no goal, no dreams of doing anything as a refugee because we have no identity, we have no citizenship, we have no goal, no hope, and nothing. Even though we are very educated, we have a artistic skill, and we have capacity to do so many things, but due to the identity and the citizenship issue, we were not able to grab opportunity even in the local area, so local community. Even the local hate us, wherever we go, they hate us, saying like, "Hey, where you came from? What's your identity? Where are you from?" So we have to say we are refugee. We don't have anything. We live in a small hut where we eat a square meal a day, very limited square meal a day that is provided by UNHCR and the local community. Really, due to our status, refugee status, we were like hopeless, feeling down every day. I've been struggling all my life to be educated, to be skillful. I have two brothers, my mother and my dad. We were also my dad and mother have a very poor health. Due to the poor health, I was the first son and the child in the family, and I have to struggle a lot to collect, to save some money for my education, uh, and then to feed my family because the food wasn't sufficient. I have to go to work. The work I did was just construction. I built so many building. I dug so many canal, so many water pipelines. I worked for road constructions when I was 17, 18 years old. When I graduated my bachelor degree, I had an opportunity to open one of my private school, uh, cooperating with one of our local relatives. They were related. They are also Ghising. I'm also Ghising, and we were from same blood, from same ancestor. So they let us to be the principal and the founder member of the local private boarding school. Uh, it is like about 17, 18 years ago. Then, after 2 years of being a school teacher, being the founder and the proprietor of the private boarding school in Sinduli district of Nepal, I have heard the opportunity for the third country resettlement program from United States of America, Australia, Denmark, Canada, Norway, New Zealand, and so many 9 different countries offering refugee. They want us to be their people, to be in their country, and we had options to go if we want to. Then one of our community leader called us. We were out, anybody who were working outside as a construct builder or teacher or security guard, they all came to the refugee camp back, and we had a meeting, big meeting in 2008, the beginning of 2008. Nancy J. Paul was the, I think um, she was from America, the foreign welfare
Mhm.
agent, Nancy J. Paul.
Of the UN.
Yes, for the UN.
Mhm.
Okay, and she came to Beldangi too, the biggest populated camp, refugee camp in Nepal, and she did a meeting with the leaders, with some of our people in the refugee camp, and it was very much challenging for all of us to decide whether to choose the resettlement, third country resettlement program, or still wait to go back to the country. We had a chaos, many challenging situation. We don't want to split the family. That there were so many choices of the family members. Some of the family they don't want to go. Some of the family they wanted to stay as a refugee in Nepal. I ended up choosing United States of America because the land of opportunity, land of free, and it was my dreamland before. And my parents don't wanted to go any country. They wanted to go back to country or ended up staying in Nepal. I came. I hardly decided to split from my dad and mom and my two brother. and we decided to move to America in 2011. And United States of America, they accepted our application, and then they processed all our screening, background check, everything, and then we came to United States of America in Erie in 2011 on January 17 here. So I was very nervous when I came to Erie in January. It was very snowy. I've never seen snow in my life, and then that much pretty big snow, you know.
How was that for you? Because Erie's pretty snowy.
Right, it was. But after a month, I went to a gas station. So with one of my friend, I found some of the Indian is speaking, um, the owner of the gas station at 6th and Parade at that Shell gas station. I was like, okay, we have Indian people doing business. Like I feel like, okay, so it is really a great community because the Indian spoken man is doing business in Erie as well, which is good for us. I can speak Indian as well, Hindi, and we talk with Hindi, and then he and I just ended up talking a little bit, and then I had to send some money uh, to my parent to pay some of my bill when I when I came here to buy some clothes, couple of clothes, and I sent because we had a couple $100 given as a seed money from from the community in Erie. That was a refugee seed money we can use for ourselves, or we can help our family back in refugee camp as well. So, and a couple of times I had opportunity to meet with the person on the gas station, and he offered me the job also. As a clerk, I started the first job I started in the United States was a clerk as a gas station clerk.
So how long did you end up spending? How many years did you end up spending in the refugee camp, and how old were you when you came to the US?
When I came to refugee camp, I was 11 years old. I ended up spending almost 22 years in refugee camp. And when I came here, 20, 20 I was like about to be like 30 years old. I'm 40 now.
I'm thinking from you've had lots of experience. You've worked and done, you've done a lot. And so when it comes to doing business here, what inspired you to open a restaurant and to want to feed people?
Thank you for the question. It's very, very great question. 2016, I came to 2011. After 5 years, I work at the casino as a blackjack dealer. I deal all blackjack, carnival game, dice table, roulette, um, except the poker. I deal all the game. 5 years at the casino. I knew people love nightlife. People enjoy. I saw people enjoying food. If you go to the place and buy for $1 drink, you drink, that is a different experience for the people, right? And I saw people dancing, band, and like they were having a great time with the family. They're enjoying. So I had a little dream because naturally I knew how to cook so many dishes, so many food. I thought of because so many Nepalese people, they work at the casino. More than 100 people, almost 100 people work from our community in casino. And our one of our blackjack player, while I was stealing blackjack, is my previous owner of the restaurant. He daily come to play in my table. We had a conversation. I came to know that he had a restaurant and bar also. And I did not have money that time. Um, Even though I worked 3 different jobs, full-time casino, I work as a, uh, I also work as a cleaning guy at Erie Gymnastics Center. I clean their, place 4 hours. I work as a teaching artist through Erie Art and Culture, and then so many. And then also I work as a translator, interpreter through MCRC, and I have 3-4 hours sleep a day, sometimes no sleep. But I had a little bit money saved, like at least little bit of money, $40,000-$50,000 for 5 years. I saved that much,
Wow.
right? Um, so that money is used. The work, like I was able to use that money. But the thing I ended up buying this place is because I thought like people really wanted to eat food, enjoy, dance, do a band, music, nightlife, really enjoyable. And then the guest, Bill Mitchell, and me, while he was gambling on my table, we had a conversation. He said, "Gyan, you should," because I participated in one of the event of the karaoke at the casino. I was one Nepali participant to take participation for the singing competition that is organized by the casino, and I stood first. I won all the men. There we had like 20 people participation. I stood first. We also got some $500 cash amount as a reward. You know, and then everybody knew I stood. Oh, he was a good singer, and he made us all enjoyable. So the guests knew it. You should buy my bar. You should open the restaurant, Gyan, he said. And his bar is very, very close to my home also. When I go evening, sometime with my friend to the bar, I usually go to his place with one of my uncle. He passed away in 2015, but he was greatly remembered for recognizing the place for me. I used to go with him to his place. Um, and then I saw very nice place, very spacious parking lot, and it is by the nature, by the jungle, closer by the Lake Erie, and no more neighborhood closer by, and pretty much natural beautiness. I found it, and I said I have no money, so I have to talk to my partner now. One of my cousin, he was also interested. He also worked in the casino, and then I talked to him. Hey, we have one opportunity because the owner is financing. Even though if the bank is not financing us, owner is giving us owner's finance. So, and we think about buying this place. He said, okay, let me see. We had a tour, couple days tour, and he liked the place. And then owner wanted to do the owner's finance for 5 years. The bank, even though I have bank money in the bank, I don't think the bank would able to do the finance for us because we have to build so much credit to buy the business, you know. And him and I had a little bit money, and then we had some uh, donated money from our relatives. They donated some $1,000 for us, and then we ended up buying the place in 2016 October, and we are having 4 years, complete 4 years. What is that um, ceremony celebrating on 21st of October for bar. Bar will be 4 years old.
Wow. Congrats to y'all. That's big. That's big.
Thank
And
you.
oh yeah, just to let everybody know, we're actually eating because this is my first time actually having Polly's food. And so I'm actually eating today samosa.
Samosa.
Yes, and I'm eating also. I'm
Pierogi.
eating chicken thukpa.
Chicken thukpa also. Okay.
Yes, yes, that's what I ordered today. The freaking
Awesome.
samosas are delicious. I love fried though. I love fried food. So but it was
Thank
oh
you for that.
yes, thank you. It was such an honor. They're so good. Like, and I need to come to the bar. Haven't been.
Please, due to the pandemic, a little bit, we have been having very much trouble for the restaurant and the bar owner, especially in PA.
Mhm.
But we're surviving ever since they get let us open it. So please welcome anytime.
Thank you, Marty. What you eating?
So I'm having the veggie momos and the chicken momos, as well as the sakuti and the samosas. And I had a question. I've eaten um, at some other local places where it's like a mixture of Indian and Nepalese food. So I'm like, where does that come from? Like that mixture of the food? Is it shared and like certain dishes are shared or everything is different? Like in my mind, I like associate samosas with Indian culture, you know? So like how,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Samosa is very famous in Africa
Hmm.
and India,
Mm.
Bhutan, Bangladesh. I haven't found in China. I've been China 2 times in my life last year. Last year I went before pandemic. I went to China. I haven't found the samosa. In Africa it calls sambosa. Instead
Mm.
of samosa, they call sambosa. It's
Mm.
exact same thing. Some samosa can be made out of bean, out of chicken, out of mashed potato, mixing with our Himalayan
Mm.
spices. But in India, it is exactly the same idea, same ingredients, same spices, same recipes that came from India to Nepal and India to Bhutan. So I am the mixture of 3 different countries culture guy, being being closer by India. I also learn Indian language, Indian culture, and Indian food. Being living in 22 years in Nepal, I also learn about the different culture of Nepal. Even I'm a Nepali originally, but the Bhutanese citizen identity guy because born and raised in Bhutan, a little bit in the childhood, and then most of my life is spent in Nepal. So I can uh, what I can tell about the samosa is it is originally from Africa and then India and after that Nepal. So
It's
it is the
fascinating.
mixture, right?
Like an infusion.
Mhm.
Exactly. So different spice is only the difference between what they prefer because Indian and Nepal are exact same thing. We don't put any different sorry spice we prefer in Nepal and India. Exact same thing.
I have another question. I'm an immigrant myself, and growing up, certain dishes my mom found difficult to find certain ingredients or spices for. So whenever we went to DC, it was always a big thing to go to certain markets because in Pittsburgh, there weren't certain ingredients. So I was wondering here if you've ever found issue with finding certain ingredients, and like have you had to adjust certain dishes because of that?
Before we have the immigrants grocery store, especially from Nepal, we had a very hard time to find the Himalayan herbal spices. Actually, we put Himalayan herbal spices that will, but now we have 8 different stores owned by our local community of immigrant from Nepal and
That's
Bhutan.
amazing. That's
So,
amazing.
so after that, we have no difficulties finding this ingredients. So it made us our life easier. You,
I'm
you
glad
you
for that.
you can go to any store. There are so 8 stores, grocery store owned by Nepali in Erie. You can go buy any ingredient that you wanted to buy, you want from our food.
Awesome. I know that Erie Arts and Culture, they created a directory. And that's where I saw a lot of are you familiar with their directory? With all of the businesses on the, yes. And are those are those 8 businesses on that directory? So
Yes.
that we can, okay,
Yes.
so we can share with the people. You've been listening to the Our Erie podcast, the voice of reason in the fog of post-industrial America. Next week, we'll have Hannah Kirby, owner of Ember+Forge, who joins us to tell her story, and we'll be discussing the protest movement. If you would like to continue the conversation, visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/Our Erie Series. This podcast is produced by John C. Lyons, Marty, Nwachukwu, and Davona Pacley. Music by Corey Cook. Funding provided by Erie Arts and Culture. And we appreciate you all for listening to Our Erie podcast.